Well, the legislation passed overwhelmingly, 405 votes to zero. There's not many times in Washington that you can build that level of bipartisan support for legislation. But the reason being that our election should be determined by votes at a ballot box, not by an assassin's bullet. And I think every American should want to make sure that at the end of the day, our candidates for president, our vice president, that they have the necessary level of protection and Secret Service resources available to them. The fact that this happened not once, but twice, and but for a few minutes difference or a millimeters difference, we would be having a very different conversation. Should shock every American's conscience to their core. And so I think it's imperative that not only that Congress act, but that the administration move swiftly to make sure that this absolutely does not happen again. And so it's really incumbent on the Secret Service to let Congress know what resources they need to provide the same level of enhanced security protection to the candidates running for president as the president, the vice president. We cannot take a chance that something happens, certainly before Election Day, but at any time. We've lived through multiple political assassinations of presidents and leaders, and it is destructive to our country and our constitutional republic. So this is imperative that we get this right.
What happened last week, it was astounding. They say that former President Trump, has the same level of security. But, the gunman allegedly was hiding in the bushes for like 12 hours. That street would have been closed. That area would have been swept. Do you think that the Secret Service has enough manpower in order to do that? You got to think of the bomb placed at the DNC on Capitol Hill prior to January 6th. That wasn't detected either.
No question. They don't have the adequate level of resources available. And I think what my bill, along with Congressman Torres, what we're saying is, look, you need to immediately commence a review and let us know everything you need to ensure the safety and well-being. And it's not just a question of partnering with local law enforcement who do a great job, but the Secret Service obviously needs additional resources, whether it's personnel or equipment, et cetera. And there's no question that even if they've increased, President Trump's security, it's not adequate. The fact that that gunman was allowed onto the property and able to stay there for upwards of 12 hours undetected, to your point, Eric, that road would have been shut down well in advance. And it should be, one way or the other. It's either going to be Donald Trump or Kamala Harris getting sworn in on January 20th, 2025. And as Americans, regardless of how we feel about either of the candidates, regardless of how we may vote, we should want to ensure that we as the American people get to choose who our next president is, not an assassin taking a shot at any of the candidates.
And finally, these two cases are apparently isolated, or at least many say so far, lone gunmen, no evidence beyond that at the moment. And this in light of the fact that Iran is known to have a bounty and target of former President Trump and his administration officials. Some of the top officials, when you meet with them and see them, they have enormous security, 24/7, all in retaliation for President Trump's assassination of General Qasem Soleimani. Are you concerned that this administration may not be doing enough to try and give that message to Tehran to don't even think about that?
Well, frankly, I think this administration has been extremely weak in dealing with Iran, starting with the illicit oil trade between Iran and China that has resulted in a $100 billion increase in revenue to the Ayatollah and the Iranian regime that they are using to fund their nuclear program and terrorism in the Middle East, including against Israel with Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and others. So I think the administration absolutely needs to take a much harder line tact. And while it appears that these were lone gunmen, the fact is we do know that Iran has a hit out on President Trump. And we need to take seriously the threats, both domestically and abroad, against our world leaders. This is absolutely unacceptable, and we need to take all proper precaution. And that's why this bill, which passed overwhelmingly, 405 votes to 0, Chuck Schumer needs to move immediately to pass it through the Senate, and President Biden should be demanding it on his desk to sign. We can't take the risk with just 44 days to go in our election.
That's for sure. And you know what, finally, so ironic. Iran has that, as you say, a hit out on former President Trump and others. Guess who's coming to New York? It's probably, I think, here today or tomorrow. Iranian President Pezeshkian. Yep. He's going to speak on Tuesday. Guess who protects the Iranian president? Our Secret Service. We're protecting him.
The irony is just too rich to imagine.
Exactly. Congressman Mike Lawler, good to see you from upstate New York. Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for your efforts on this bill.